Recording has started.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, well, good evening, everyone. I would like to go ahead and call this meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission's regular meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission to order. Today is December 8th, and it is 7:02 p.m. And I haven't done this before. I don't start with introductions yet. Do I start with introductions?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with introductions. I usually start on the screen, but I'm going to do that a little differently this time since we have new people on the screen. And I'm going to start at the opposite end. Sir, you're on.
Oh, be in the spot.
Yep.
Pat Paraport, Commissioner. I wasn't sure if it was still alternate.
Well, I think everyone's a commissioner until we vote.
That's
correct.
No, we still have an alternate.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Danielle Monroe, Commissioner.
Carolyn Baumgartner, newly elected commissioner.
Welcome.
Thank
And on the screen, Paul
Paul Shanley, Commissioner.
and Mary. You're muted. Yep, if you can unmute yourself. You're still muted, Mary. Maybe, oh, Amanda's gonna
No, I can't.
nope, can't. Try hitting the space bar. We can, but I want her to be able to participate in the meeting. Do you know how to do it from there?
There should be.
Here.
No worries.
Sorry, I couldn't get it on my computer, so I was trying to figure out how to do it on my phone. I'm Mary. I'm Wetlands alternate. Nice to meet all of you.
Thank you, Mary. All right, introductions are done. Sorry, I have too many papers that I'm filling.
Other than Chuck?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, we are
Yep.
not done with introductions at all. I'm gonna be a little bit of a hot mess
That's okay.
tonight.
Dan Carter, ex officio member for Salt.
Thank you,
Stephen Collin, the Wetlands agent.
Amanda Martinez, recording secretary.
thank you. And we also have joining us on screen tonight, I see Mr. Andrus is here. Attorney Andrus.
Yes.
excuse-
Chuck Anders here, attorney for the commission.
And Beth?
Observer. I think she was observing.
Okay,
You do have Mr. Todd Ritchie from SLR International.
there he is. Sorry,
Corporation.
sandwiched at the top, Mr. Ritchie.
Yes, Todd Ritchie, professional engineer with SLR for the commission.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now we're done with introduction. Yeah, sure. Okay, so our first order of business tonight is the election of officers. Do we have any changes to the agenda tonight?
None.
Are you sure about that? Did we receive an email saying that we needed to make an addition? Or a
Oh,
change, or-
yes.
or an invoice?
The invoice for the News Times?
It's on here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I sent it.
It's on here.
Yep. But was it on the original agenda that one?
It was not.
So do we need to make that?
So if the commission would entertain a motion
Yeah.
to
And then
add.
she can always seat Mary for Carrie.
Sure. Well, when she, right,
Well, she's an alternate. Harry's a commissioner.
right, but when she gets to.
Election of officers?
Right.
I don't know that I can do anything official until I don't know, whoever, right? Does there need to be someone as chair leading?
Right.
Before we start doing things?
Right.
Right.
So the invoice for the News Times still needs to be added to the agenda. If the commission would consider adding an invoice for, what's the amount, Amanda?
$603.20.
Under new business.
You need a motion for that?
That's correct.
I make a motion that we add the News Times invoice to tonight's agenda.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote.
Aye.
Aye. On the screen?
Aye.
Oh, Mary can't vote. Thank you. Okay, motion carries. All right, so we have made that modification. Okay, so then with that, any other changes or?
No, thank you very much, guys.
Very welcome. All right, so then our first order of business tonight is the election of officers.
That's
Would
correct.
you like to lead the discussion on that?
So, the commission needs to appoint, a couple of positions for its executive officers, those being chair and vice chair. If you want to do all your nominations in one bunch, if you want to do them by position, it's totally up to, the board as a whole. But either way, you take all the nominations and then you hear votes for, each seat. And then whoever has the simple majority, they take that vote on the board. So however the board wants to go about it.
All right, so is it by motion?
What's that? Well, so you would do nominations first.
All right, so I would nominate Danielle to continue as chairperson. You know, what a great job she's done and will continue to do.
I'd love to nominate you back.
Are there any other nominations for chair?
I would like to nominate Pat Hereford as vice chair.
You wish you could make it.
Do you need a second for that?
We're just doing nominations at the
Just
moment.
throwing them on the table at the moment. Do you have any input on?
Oh, no, I think the existing board was doing a great job. I would endorse both of them.
Hi, friend.
Sorry, that's Elena. Good night, honey.
Sounded like a second.
So then do we have motions?
Yes.
Okay, I will make a motion to nominate Pat Hereford for our vice chair position.
I will second that.
Thank you,
Then
Paul.
I will make a motion to nominate Danielle Monroe for our chairperson position.
I'll second that as well.
Okay, any discussion on the motions? Hearing none, I will call a vote. I'll start on the screen.
Yes to both motions.
Carolyn?
Yes to both.
I will vote yes to both.
Yes.
Okay, motion's carried.
Congratulations, Madam Chair.
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Vice Chair.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Vice Chair. Thank you for your
Just
confidence. I appreciate it.
Quick question. We're missing a full seat member, so could Mary be seated for the votes for those?
I think what we discussed a minute ago was I'll seat her in a moment, but we couldn't seat her until we had I don't think we could seat her until we had a chairperson.
But who would have the discretion to see her then?
Do I have the existing discretion? Okay, I didn't know that.
No, it's okay. I mean, I don't think it changes the vote either way. I just, give an alternative voice when they deserve it was my.
Oh, absolutely. She's getting seated in a second. Welcome to
Yeah.
the board.
Okay. Good.
All right. So
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion, or I don't need a motion. I can just go ahead. I would like to seat Mary for Terry, please, tonight. Thank you. Now, Mary, you're welcome to vote on things and participate. Thank you. Okay, so we got that out of the way. We need to look at our meeting schedule. Does everybody have a copy of it?
Yes.
Yes, everyone should have a copy in front of them.
Okay, and our folks on the screen, did they get this emailed to them? I did not check my email
I'm
today.
pretty sure I did email everyone.
Yeah, that should have gone out as part of the packet for last Thursday.
Oh, thank you. Mary and Paul, did you receive the meeting schedule?
I did. I just have to go pull it up really quickly.
Yeah, I'm
this board-
actually looking at it. as well.
Thank you, Paul.
This board typically meets on the fourth Monday of the month, the only exceptions being August and December, at least off the top of my head. And those accommodate summer recess and the winter holidays. I can't think of any other
Looks like
months
May.
that we had to make this year's calendar.
It's May, August, and December.
Okay. All right, because the fourth Monday of the month is Memorial Day. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Does anybody have any significant concerns? We can always change things in the future if we need to, if there's a compelling reason to, but as a starting point, does this look like a workable schedule for everyone?
I think so.
And does this time, this meeting location and this meeting format work for the board? 7 o'clock, meeting will be in person, Google Meet by hybrid or remote? Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, again, haven't done this before. I assume that we make them like, I will entertain a motion to approve the meeting calendar as offered.
Seconded. I motion.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, now, next order of business are regular meeting minutes from 11:24. So,
I'd like to just note that I did watch the whole meeting in their entirety. YouTube, I guess it was.
Yeah,
Yep.
great.
thank you, Sharon.
Did any of our new commissioners have the opportunity, okay, to do so?
I could read minutes, but I don't.
So that's what counts.
Minutes count? Okay, great. If you were not, so if you read the,
I'll be up there in a second.
do I think I hear a voice? That's not.
Sorry, the daughter's upstairs still trying to go to bed. I'll credit
Oh,
me
that's,
as much as possible.
it's not a problem. I just thought it was coming from in the room. If you had a chance to read the meeting minutes, then you can go ahead and vote on this. If you did not, or you choose not to, you can certainly abstain from the vote. But I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written for 11:24 for our meeting, our regular meeting on 11:24.
Motion made.
Seconded.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote on the screen.
I will abstain. I'm still catching up on all the videos.
Thank
Oh,
you. Did you hear what she said?
I think she's upstairs.
Did you say abstain, Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we're still in the same, did you watch
I have not watched
11:13?
11:13.
Do we need
That's the
someone
same
to
one,
watch it, or do we just need someone who has read the meeting minutes? That was our special meeting.
I will make a point of watching it for the next meeting so we can get it off the agenda.
Do you know, Dan?
No, that's a new one to me. Don't happen, so I'm gonna see if I
Is that on YouTube as well?
Yes.
I will watch it for the next meeting. I apologize.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
might I suggest we continue that to the next meeting? Well, when more of us have a chance to watch the video.
absolutely. That's what we're gonna do next. I just wanted to make a double check on it because we've already kicked it once, so I wanted to make sure we could kick it.
Gotcha. I didn't realize it was kicked once. I apologize. Like I said, still catching up.
No, no worries. Thank
Thank
you for the input. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to push this to our next meeting on January 26th.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a motion from Pat. I have a second from Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, cruising along. All right, we are now up to our invoice from the Danbury News Times in the amount of $603.10. Anyone would like to make a motion that we approve the invoice?
What was that for?
Legal notice for the public hearing, 7 Rockwell Road, and I think the commission's latest decision.
Thank you.
No.
Motion to accept.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will call a vote.
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is that how much it usually costs? I mean, I don't know. I've never.
It varies.
Yeah.
Depends on
How many
how
rooms?
many, yeah.
Seems like.
I will put
Seems
it this way,
expensive.
the price has only gotten more expensive.
Indeed, indeed.
That was just for one notice.
No,
Oh.
it was run 2 times. I'm pretty sure this is just for the 7 Rockwell one.
Oh, it was just
Yeah.
for the public hearing,
I'm
really?
pretty sure.
Okay.
My understanding is that we have a legal obligation to run them, so we're
Yes.
kind of
Right.
over a barrel. We have
Yeah.
to pay.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Until that gets changed by statute, then it's the way you have to do things.
Right. And I don't know that I would suggest that it should be changed, but the
Yeah,
price
just-
is.
I would.
I would.
Make things a lot easier for us.
Fair enough.
Somewhere, maybe not.
Fair enough.
should see the whole bill.
Well, that being said, I think it's important for us to notify the public.
It
Maybe
is.
that's not the venue.
And Madam Chair, I'll say just for the record,
Yes.
in the most recent charter revision, there's been a little addition that allows it when the state law changes, if it does, let's say they let it online or whatever they do, we can comply with that.
Right.
For the same reason, we all recognize this has been something that's crazy expensive and really not worth it.
Right.
You know, The other question is, are there other things that have general readership? Like if we can find another publication someday, we might be able to do that too, but
Right, it's kind of a monopoly.
it is monopoly.
Understood. Thanks for the clarification.
So putting it on the town website isn't notice enough.
It's not enough currently. It says you have to have a notification of a publication with a general readership in the area or something like that. And it's been something the legislature's been taking up for at least 10 years. Never quite makes it over the hurdle though.
Okay. So that brings us to the public hearing.
Times having that much readership right now.
I'm sure they don't want it to change.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, that brings us to the public hearing portion of our meeting tonight. And we have one application before us, which is 7 Rockwell Road. And I believe that we have the applicant and
Okay, ready?
representation here.
For the record, Neil Marcus, joined by Josh Padero, my associate, who's with me. We're members of firm Commonwealth PC 158, Deer Hill Avenue, Danbury.
Partner, not associate.
Oh, I said, well, associated with me. He's a partner of mine, yes. The continued application focuses on an application that we made to continue public hearing, focuses on the application that we made to try to resolve an appeal that's pending before the Superior Court of a denial of a notice of a non-regulated activity as of right to landscape the property at 7 Rockwell Road. That's why we're here. And hopefully we're going to resolve this and end litigation before we spend more time, energy, and money on both sides to pursue it. I don't know if any of you know some of the history. It goes back to an order to correct that was issued in 2023. So we're talking about 2 years ago, 25 now. And a revised order to correct that was issued subsequent to the original order. And the order basically states that the commission considered the facts presented, I'm quoting from it, and determined the previous order shall be revised to include the following. 1, any and all work pertaining to the unpermitted activities shall cease immediately unless to protect public health and safety is determined by the inland wetlands agent. So this, I call it a cease and desist order, but it tells us to cease doing any work, which the applicant, Mark Jordan, who's sitting on my left, did. He stopped working on the project. And then it said written correspondence had to be submitted, and the presence of Mr. Bjorken was requested at the next meeting of the commission, and I believe he did go before I was involved in the application. And then it said an application shall be submitted to the Inland Wetlands Commission on before October 23rd to include either of the following proposed regulated activities: A, remediation mitigation of the property to restore the same to its existing conditions as of November 4th, 2015. Which, again, there's a question, I'm not sure we had a record of what the conditions were back then. B, ex post facto improvements and any additional associated improvements to permit the unpermitted activities. So that's where all this started. So it has to do with work that Mr. Jordan did on his property sometime between November of 2015 and September of 2023. So we have an 8-year period that we're talking about with no record of what was really done. But the real issue here is that when it fell into my hands, I felt that the proper provision was under the section of the regulations that allows a homeowner to do ordinary landscaping and do such work as will protect and maintain the property. Because most of everything that Mark had started out doing focused on the fact that his property, as we determined at the last meeting, is well within the 100-year flood. And that when we have significant rainfalls, there's flooding and there's a lot of debris carried down the lime kiln, deposited in front of his house and on the banks. So we do have a couple of pictures that we'd like to share with you. And one of the questions was, well, what did this property look like before Mr. Jordan started to clean it up? So I'm going to give you 3 pictures here. And
What are these from, Mr.?
these pictures were taken last week.
Okay.
Last week? What day was it?
I thought you said they were from before he started
Well,
cleaning it up.
No, the question was, what did it look like before? So what we did is we took pictures of the current condition of the lime kiln brook. And on the top, you'll be looking at Mr. Bajorkin's house, actually. That's what you see in the background. It's sort of pale green.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to make sure that our members up on the screen have access to them too. Were you able to share these so that they could be included in our drive? So
I just received them today, so they were not uploaded. We'll have to do that. But the house in the background on the top picture is Mr. Bajorkin's house. So basically, this is the picture below him, below downstream, looking back upstream towards his house, and across the river would be the intervener's house. And that's and these 3 pictures are basically what the river looks like when nobody cleans it up. And this is basically what the river looked like when he was working on it in front of his house. And what you can see is with the fallen trees and all the debris in the river. And then if you look, the second picture actually shows a culvert of one of the bridges where the river goes under a town road. And that's contributes to the flooding. And you've got the culverts, you got all this garbage in the stream, and you get the extreme storm events that we had a year ago in August. And at that point, the water overcame the Georgian's property, so that the house was like a little island in the middle of the river, because the river was on both sides. So these are the 3 pictures that give you an idea of why he removed the debris in front of his house and restored the bank.
Mr. Mark, excuse me, Attorney Marcus, this picture here with the logs in front of it, is this taken from someone else's property? Looking forward, looking back up towards the house?
Yes,
That's what I thought.
yeah, that's
So-
downstream.
So this is, all this debris here is not actually on Mr. Bjorken's property?
No, but this is what it looked like before he removed it.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
clarification.
yeah. And then I have some additional pictures here that, again, another 3 that show Mr. Bjorken's house in the background and the condition on the river when nobody takes any steps to clean it up. I'll just try to put them in the same order here. Yeah, so this, I mean, this, the 3rd picture in this series here. You get 4. So you have that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The in this series of 3 pictures, again, you'll see debris in the stream. It's taken from a slightly different point in the brook, or the Monton Brook. And again, it shows you have rocks just sort of strewn in the middle of the street. Those are the wash that come down the river with rain, and the type of logs and other debris that just clutter the river. And that's the type of stuff that he has been removing and was removing at the time that he was ordered to cease and desist. In one of the pictures, you'll actually see what looks like somebody's screen door on the side of the river. There's natural debris, and then there's just garbage along the back. And that's what he cleaned up. He has about a 70, we indicated at the last hearing, and Jim McManus spoke, there's about 76 feet of frontage along the river. which he removed natural debris and garbage. And then he took rocks that had been washed into the river and put them back up on the bank. The banks that do erode were stabilized with the rocks that had eroded from them in the first place. So that is what we would like to have permission to keep in place. Now, to the extent that the order, revised order to correct, required us to stop work, the work is stopped, the property still looks like it's a mess because it hasn't been finished. And we did a site visit, and you saw that when we were there. But to the extent that you consider any of the material that was taken out of the river to be improper and not part of normal landscaping and maintenance of a property, we'll put it back in. I mean, it would break our hearts, but we'll actually put it back in. But the idea that we're going to continue these hearings and litigation over that issue just doesn't appeal to us at all. We'd rather just undo the work we did, if that's what the commission wants to do.
I have a question. When you say he removes the debris, where does he remove it to?
When you take the logs and the brush, no, when you take the logs and the brush out, where do you dispose of it?
If it's burnable firewood, I burn it and it goes to my property in Newtown. We have 76 acres over there. I've been in this business for, I bought my first climbing saddle in 1968. So I've been a tree service for a great deal of time. Then in the state in Westport, I was a gardener there for 17 years.
The rocks that you've taken out of the brook, have they been the ones that you reinforced the bank with? Yeah. So basically, those just get put up against the bank, where they came from for the most part. Because the force of the river coming down was huge. I mean, the washouts are unbelievable. So that's where we are. There was some question about doing a natural diversity study of the property. Jim McManus talked to you at the last meeting and said that this is such a small area to look at that it's kind of meaningless to determine the diversity of 76 feet of the riverfront. There was also some discussion at the last meeting about the fact that what's the impact on the work that the Jorgen has done on flooding conditions in the river, and whether we had information that could relate his cleanup to the flooding or the prevention of flooding. And the answer is we can't do that. It's way too big a project. And as Jim McManus said, he did not have the technical degree to do that. You need somebody who is versed in geohydrology that can really do a river study, and it would be a long length of the river to get anything of impact. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm just have another question. All of these pictures you've shown us today are taken from in the vicinity of your
Directly
property.
below my house, yeah.
Is this representative of a long line Kiln Brook in general? Like, is this something we would see downstream, upstream, all along the brook?
You find it almost all the way in the Brookfield, quite honestly. People have
So
not
this is
maintained
like-
the Limekiln Brook.
Okay, so this is what it normally looks like.
That's correct. That's a normal condition right there.
We are, this is an interesting application that we are reviewing, and we are also going to hear from an intervener who is a neighbor. So there will be an opportunity to hear different perspectives on that as well. So as you ask your questions, just keep that in mind.
So that's where we are. We're going to ask the commission this evening, now that you've heard a lot of this. And by the way, I've spoken to the intervener, and I made the same offer. If you would identify any work that you think that Mark has done in the river that should be undone, i.e. just tell us where you think it should be deposited and what materials, and you guys will have to approve it. I mean, if you say you want us to, I doubt you want us to put dead trees and limbs back in, but we actually have them. I mean, it's got a whole brush storage pile up in New Milford, if you need it. But the same thing with the rocks on the bank. If you feel that you go along and you take a spray can and you say, I'd like this rock back in the river, put a dab of paint on it and we'll roll it back into the river. That's where it came out of. But other than that, is to say, the argument that Chuck Andrews, who's on the phone, and I will have in the Superior Court if we can't resolve this, is whether the work that we did is regulated or it's unregulated under the exemption that allows a homeowner to do normal landscaping. Now, part of what Mark has done, we've indicated, is he's used stone from his own house, from his own quarry property in Newtown, to reinforce the foundations of the house. And he's built basically low stone retaining walls along the foundation. And that, again, I think is normal homeowner work that people do all over the town of Bethel, build small retaining walls on their property. Here, his property, it happens to be along the line Kiln Brook, so it's regulated. I mean, there's no question. The entire property is in the floodplain. The entire property is regulated. So theoretically, if he were cutting the grass, he would be doing something in an upland review area. That's where we are. We'd like to try to bring this thing to a conclusion by taking any of the recommendations from the commission and incorporating.
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
You said all the work he's doing is in a regulated area, but your argument is he's doing work that's not regulated.
That's correct.
But you just said it's all in a regulated
Well,
area.
yeah, upland review area that's regulated.
So the work should be regulated.
No, there's an exception. I'll get it right now.
We got it right here.
I don't
We
need
have
to
the
hear that.
uses permitted as
I
right,
got it.
but we have already argued that point, and that's not really what we're here to discuss
That's right.
today.
Yeah, that's what is here at court judge can determine, and you and I don't ever have to argue about it.
No, absolutely.
But the question is, do we want to spend $10,000 to do that or more? And the question, and our answer is, we'll spend that money and put the stuff back in the river if you want.
I think our question is more about the permit.
Yeah, so for those of you who were not on the board previously, I just, if I may summarize really quickly. It was brought to our attention that some work was being done at Mr. Bjorken's house, and there was a question as to whether or not that falls under needing a permit or whether it is use as of right, which is not needing a permit. There was a lot of discussion about that with the previous board, and ultimately we were not able to come to, well, it was rejected. The board said this is a regulated activity that requires a permit, and that then went to court. And our land use attorney is here. Chuck Anders is on the line as well. If you have questions for him, you can feel free to direct questions to him as well. But that is pending. And since then, while that is still pending, they have brought an application before us now, and that's what we're here to review. Did that catch you up enough?
Yes,
Paul and Mary,
I did look at the documents you sent.
Yep.
So I have a little bit of a sense for.
of the history of it. I know it's awkward to be coming into something that is this involved in the middle of the process. Does that, Mary and Paul, does that help?
I think
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Sorry, Mary, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Run through my backyard.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Mary?
If I could see those pictures, lime kiln literally runs through my backwoods.
Gotcha. Paul, did you have anything that we could help clarify? You good?
I'm just, like I said, I'm still playing catch up. But I just wanted to, right now they're still litigating the past discrepancies, I should say, and now they're here for a permit to continue the work. I just want to make sure I'm clear on what we're looking for here.
So we do have a permit before us right now, and that's what we're here to discuss tonight. Whether or not it's should have been allowed as of right is what is being litigated, but that's not what we're here to discuss now. That's happening in the courts.
Okay. And
Paul, if I can answer this question.
Sure.
Paul, on May 23rd, we got a notice of a ruling from the commission, May 23rd of 24. We have a notice of a ruling on our notification of performing a non-regulated activity. And that is the ruling that went on appeal. So that goes back to 24. During the course of our discussions with the judge, when we have status hearings and settlement discussions, Chuck Anders and I agreed that we would, without conceding that it's required, but for purposes of settling, then we come back before the commission with an application for the purpose of trying to figure out what the commission wants us to do with respect to the work that has been completed, i.e. take it apart, throw it back in the river, leave it the way it is, or in the alternative, do something additional. I mean, for example, not that I want to complicate it, but Mark Bajorkin said he'd love to take all the stuff out of the river that's right near his house, that's below his property, but he cannot do that without permits. But that's what you really like to do. But that's where we are.
Is your application simply to remediate what has already been done, or are you trying, I'm sorry, or are you making an application to continue the work so that he can try to salvage his property?
Well, the work is pretty much finished in the river. The only thing he's doing now is putting up some stone walls along his foundation. That's it. And that I don't think is regulated at all.
Can I just, one other question before you move on? The track of the brook itself has been changed, correct?
No.
Through the
That's
work?
a discussion that is in contention between the landowner and the intervener.
Got it.
Oh, to answer your question, there's been erosion of the banks in the last couple of years. That storm in August, a year ago, August, there's an enormous amount of erosion along our neighbor's bank, and we agreed to that, but we didn't do it. The storm did it. I mean, it was upstream from where we were working, so the water eroded the neighbor's bank before it came down to the point where Mark had reinforced his banks with essentially riprap out of the river.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If you were removing material from a brook, regardless if it's garbage or, trees or brush, you're just exposing the banks for more accelerated erosion.
We did the opposite, though. We actually reinforced the banks. We actually took
with
rocks.
riprap.
With the riprap was actually the rock that had washed into the river from the banks. We just pulled it back up. That's all we did.
Did you
So
bring,
all of this work was done by hand.
was riprap brought in? Was it purchased and brought in, or was it just recovered rocks from the bottom of the river or the brook or whatever?
Did you bring in any rock from you brought in rock from Newtown to work on your walls?
Yes.
Did you use that to reinforce the bank as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Some of it was brought in to reinforce the bank at the time.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Dave.
No, I don't want to
We're off
interrupt
topic,
this.
I think.
I don't want to interrupt this discussion, but I will say there's comments that I would like to offer that may address some of what's being discussed right now. So if we could just put a pin in some of these topics.
No, sure. I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding 100% what we're discussing and
Sure.
Mr. Marcus had commented earlier in his first remarks that it was only rock that came out of the brook and they put it back. But now, a few minutes later, we're talking about material was brought in from off-site. So I'm just,
along the top of the bank, with this where the small stone walls, that material was brought in also.
And there was material that was brought in from Newtown, is what you shared with us at the last
That's
meeting
correct.
and in previous discussions,
That is
in order to
To
reinforce the bank,
bank.
not just stone walls up at the house.
Correct.
But
The
materials
top of the
were
bank-
brought
The
in.
top of the bank has been reinforced with other rocks. The bottom of the bank was rolled out of the river.
So, I'm sorry.
Does that answer your question, Paul?
I'm still catching myself up. I'm going to say that probably 3 more times tonight. But I just want to make sure I'm 100% clear. I always try to say it's silly, it's cliche, but I always try to boil things down to make it as simple as possible. Get away from some of the lawyer speak. No offense to you, Neil, or you, Chuck. But just so I can, understand exactly what we're talking about and be clear on what was done and what the goals are. So thank you very much. You've answered some of my questions and maybe piqued a couple new ones, but I'm okay for right now. Thank you.
Hey, Madam Chairman, to the extent that you're going to have members maybe voting on this, like Paul, who has not been on the site, we would welcome you to do an inspection of the site anytime you would like. We'll make you just give us the time you want to do it, and we'll make sure that it's open for you. Because a lot of the stonework that we're talking about we actually observed on the sidewalk, about a month ago.
And there is a site walk video that is available that I would encourage you guys to review.
Absolutely.
That exists. Is the original one also available, or is that closed because it's from a previous?
No, all of the past
Everything
meetings and sidewalks that were taken are available on YouTube.
So there's a substantial amount of materials that you guys can review in order to try and get up to speed on this. And yes, as Mr. Marcus has shared, this has been a long.
Yeah. You said it's on YouTube. I mean, I went onto the town website and there were links there.
That'll link you to YouTube.
Yeah.
So those are the links that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I did watch it.
Well, those are some of the links. So the testimony and documentation that's being submitted for your review, that is available on the town's website. As far as the meeting recordings go, you can access those through the town website, but if you were to just go right to YouTube and search for Town of Bethel, Connecticut, we have a playlist on that webpage for all of this commission's meeting recordings, without having the specific dates for when we met to discuss activities on this property offhand. You know, I would suggest you course through those meetings to see when we previously discussed this. If it helps the commission, a list for those dates can be generated so you can find those more easily.
Okay. I wasn't aware that they were on YouTube, so I did check the town website, so I will go back and watch this.
Would it
May I make a suggestion?
share those things with the commission?
Yeah, I can do
So
that.
thank you very much. So Amanda's going to compile that for us and send it out so that everyone has easy access to find what we need in order to catch up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Once again, hitting it out of the park.
I try.
She's awesome. Thank you.
Is it all right with the commission if I put a pin in things here and let Dave offer some comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, as
Do
much
I
as
have to do the intervener?
well, as much as I'm championing at the bit, I would
Yeah.
suggest you
I-
offer
okay.
the intervener the chance to speak.
Absolutely. Would you mind introducing yourself to the commission?
You want me to sit up front or on?
Oh, I want you.
All right.
Front, let's do the whole thing.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Brian Blanchett, 4 Old Hollywood Road. Welcome.
So you can sit there. I just want you to know that they can't see you.
They can't, that's why I sat here. We're-
Do you see the bottom of
If
the
you-
Brady
if-
Bunch screen?
If you want to sit, that's fine. Just bring your chair up closer to the dais.
I mean, I can stand up.
Okay.
If you can see yourself in that bottom corner, then they can see you too.
Okay.
You can see your feet, we're good.
Can I just take a peek at these real quick?
Sure.
There were 6 altogether.
Okay. All right, yeah, so I mean, so none of these are on Mr.
No.
Jordan's property. I don't know where you guys want me to start, maybe at the beginning or,
Wherever you wish.
well, I think a lot of this just goes to show how important the actual survey or something on paper, right, would be. So, I mean, rather than beat a dead horse, I have, well, first of all, we can, if I could look at this, Dave, you have this on the, if you could, can you pull it up for me?
It's
It's the A2 survey from 1971. It was under
Okay,
the maps and
I will find that. There it is. Up here, and I'm looking at a copy.
so, I mean, he pulls it up, but it's just, this is the map that he submitted. But I think what's getting lost here, they keep talking about
Can everybody see the screen?
the study area, right? And it's the small amount of study area, but the actual work has been performed on the entirety of the western, right? So, you know, you guys have been here for this, so the third commission now. That's kind of, if that was included in the initial report, right, that would have helped us to see. So just if I circle back to Green and Banzer's comments, just, you know, just basic stuff that we were looking for, to even be able to kind of give the new members an idea and figure it out. I mean, it's kind of probably the best place to start.
For our members on the screen, you can see the map. Do you have any questions about that before Mr. Blanchett starts to catch us up?
Yes, I can see it, and I have no questions.
Can we note the date of this map, please?
This is a survey that was
December 8th,
1971, I believe.
Okay.
The most current.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
So,
And please note that's the most current.
Well, that's what we're looking at here.
It's submitted. Okay.
so maybe the better map to look at would be his sketch. What is before.
Well, let's be clear, that's the sketch, not
It's not an actual.
But if you look at his sketch, it's taken off of the GIS map, okay? And if you look at his sketch where it is and then where it actually is, that also is, you know, it's just another way to exemplify why the survey or an actual, you know, up-to-date drawing would be necessary. But as far as, you know, all the stuff on the riverbank and stuff, I mean, you don't have to be a soil scientist or really, you can just Google this stuff. It's just basically, you know, right there in your face. I took this photo's in the record, but I can't get it. I can't open any other photos on that. 404.
Oh, you still have an idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to have,
I'm gonna talk to
But to answer your question, that is what it looked like when he bought it. So it was clean when he bought it. It was not clean.
This is your photo. When was that taken?
It was taken in 2015.
have you submitted that?
Yeah, it's on the record, but I can't find it. When I was going back to
Which one?
it is this photo.
What is it? What is it?
Does it have a
file
tag
name?
on it? No.
I don't know, it's probably part of the initial complaint, but it just shows like,
Does the photo have a timestamp?
it does, yeah, you have it on. We, like I said, we
In order for them to
this.
find it, to try and share it with, is that
Oh,
what you were gonna
you
do?
want to find it right now?
Well, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. It was probably part of the, like I said, I've been trying to open that up and I.
Yeah, I don't know
May I
why
see it?
it keeps doing that.
Yeah, sure.
And take it from. That's a
Well,
house
that's
there.
from your property.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Take a picture towards his house. Or
exactly.
to
And then,
his house.
Oh,
I have it before.
Sorry.
do you have a date on that? What month of the year is that taken?
Probably right around now. I think it was from November. But so, right, and then that's what it looks like now.
What is the file name
It
on
was,
your phone?
well, this is just from my camera.
Sure.
No, sure.
It's in an
Yeah,
email that
Mr.
I sent.
Blanchett lives across the river.
That's the portion that's not included in the study area. Okay, right, so.
We're gonna try and pull it up for you guys so that you can see it as well. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
when you guys change the, when you change it from the drive to the way it is now, it's impossible to get to the photos.
These are dated April 28th, 2023 and November 16th, 2023.
Yes, because it's a screenshot of an email to him. which is the old
Gotcha.
photos.
So this is current.
More or less.
Okay.
I mean, it's more current than that one.
Okay.
I would say that one is the actual date and the other one is a screenshot.
So I'm going back and forth trying
Yeah,
to
that's
Well,
fine.
it-
landmark it.
There's no work done there and this is
Yeah,
all
that's what I'm
masonry that
saying.
went in there.
So when he claims that
The
he's
trees go.
cleaning it up from when he purchased it a mess, that's not how it was, right? And to answer your question, or somebody's, that's not how the rest of the river Plantain Brook looks. I mean, maybe parts of it. A lot of the debris in these photos is taken downstream, and I think there's probably a portion of the bridge that he had constructed that ended up, which is, I know it's all a moot point as far as.
Was any rocks added or any material added to your side of the stream?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, right now, the only thing that's, preventing portion of my side from eroding anymore. There's just ledge there, so it's not gonna,
But nothing was added.
No.
And there was discussion about, there was stuff added to the opposite bank, but which is owned by a different property owner. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it's gonna help. Someone's gonna have to get a survey. So either way, I'm almost under the impression now that the the west side of the river, which is Mr. Bajorkin's side, is not even like what is actually the bank now where the stones were put are, I don't think maybe even on his property. They're on my property. So now in other words,
You have.
I own both sides of the river.
I see.
And then, so Dave, this photo is from an email from 1/5/24.
Okay.
Can I see the before picture again?
Would it be easier if
No,
Mr. Blanchett
give
were to
me to
just
the
email
first
those
picture.
to either you or Amanda, and then we just open them on the
That's
screen so
before.
that,
The service here is not
Looking
great.
for.
I got you. Okay, it was just a,
It would be
You can see
one
the
thing
shed, maybe.
if we were only
I'm looking
working
for
with a
this-
handful of
yeah.
photos.
To help with that.
Yeah.
these
So that-
two in particular are,
I know, but David's trying to find them.
Sure,
Out of all
I'm
of them.
trying to go through like a dozen different files of
Do me a favor,
photos.
resend
that's
that
why I'm
today.
asking, if he were to just email those to you right now, could you just open them up so that we could be able to share that with the members of the
Sure.
commission?
That would
If
be-
it goes through, but sometimes service here doesn't.
Understood.
I don't want our discussion to hinge
Yeah.
on
I
two
mean,
emails coming through.
yeah, exactly.
I think that's an important picture.
Sure.
So, I mean, if he wants to email it, and I can always email it to you guys tomorrow.
I'm fine with that. I feel,
I would
I'm
like it
caught-
emailed again, so I know we have it on the record.
Sure.
Mr. Blanchett, do you mind sharing that again?
What?
Those photos?
No,
No, do you
no,
mind?
Doesn't have to be
emailing
right
them?
now,
Doesn't
just
have to be
email
right
it
now.
back to Dave.
Like I said, I'd be a little more organized if I knew what I was, and I also thought maybe Jim would be here so I could ask him a few questions.
Well, you're welcome
But as
to
far as,
put
I
them
mean,
in the record.
as far as putting rocks back there, I don't know how to do that. I mean, that's what you guys are for. So if you want to figure out what you think is, best, then we'll see, I guess.
So knowing that 3 of the 5 of us here tonight weren't here for prior testimony, that you've made, is testimony even the right word? Whatever.
Yes.
Sure. Is there anything else that you would like them to know that you think would be relevant?
Well, I mean, so this started out as, I mean, it's probably better to look at this started out as him taking stones out and putting them on the bank. Then it escalated to bringing more stones in. Then we built a bridge. Then once the stones were on his side and, he was somewhat satisfied, he noticed the other side was eroding and he thought it was his property on the opposite side. So he started working on that, which is actually in the application that's before you right now, is to perform work that's not on his property. We don't know all along, everyone's just been asking for basic stuff. A survey, stuff like that. So everyone can figure out what's what, like where is this, all these photos, there's nothing to really look at. Everything requires an explanation. Nothing's,
And is there anything else that you wanted to share about the impacts to?
Well, yeah, so, by armoring his bank, it impacts my bank. It changes the speed of the water, dissipates the energy. I mean, I had a soil scientist that came in that spoke. I could maybe get him back. Like I said, I don't have anything for him to come and offer his expertise because we don't really know what we're looking for. This is just kind of the same.
Like the stream as it goes past your property, like, so you're up, you're
Well,
you're
yeah,
here.
more or less, yeah.
Well, I mean, it just seems like the way it's, you would naturally have more erosion.
It would,
on
yeah,
that
that's why,
side
well, that's
anyway.
especially why it doesn't help when it gets, it's one thing if Mother Nature wants to do its thing, but I mean, if you saw it in person, it would do it a lot more justice, I think. These are large stones. This isn't just like picking some rocks up and throwing them up on the hill.
So,
right?
so I'm not sure where the rocks are.
Well, so they start here and they go all the way.
So basically the whole side of the
The
river
entire
here has
thing.
been,
Yep, and the study area that he presented in his application, depends which map you look at, but it's basically isolated to right here. So what they did was they studied this area and they're now, since they only studied this area and they're only acknowledging work on this area, they're referring to my property as upstream instead of adjacent. So if you were at the last meeting, there's this thought, I'm upstream. I'm not upstream, I'm adjacent to him, right? So by him pushing, I mean, these are big rocks. And not to mention, besides the rocks, there's all type of fill activity in here. The grade has been raised, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 feet in front of this house. It's like a wall, an armor. The whole thing is armored. And it's not.
so you're saying then that the water is like running off of this property and making it worse and.
No, so the flow is this way. The water comes this way, right? This elevation and this elevation used to be the same.
Mhm.
Now they're different. So when the river comes up like it does, and I acknowledge that, right? When it comes up, instead of going out this way and slowing down, it's just going this way, like everything, right? And then it's just doing its thing like that. So
Has there been an engineer or a water like?
well, it's kind of what
Extended
we've
request-
been requesting, so.
I guess somebody who knows water flow. Because it just seems like the erosion would naturally be happening on the.
So we have an engineer, Mr. Ritchie is with us tonight. We'll get there.
We'll definitely get.
What are you looking at, sir?
This is his house,
Correct.
and this is where it's been done.
Yes, so what happened is.
No, it's been done here.
The entire, okay.
They're talking about
But the
here.
study area that's included in the actual application is a swap property here. But so on, real quick while I have you though. Well, because the map that he presented, it shows the boundary
That's new rock up there.
over here. So
I've got it up on the
yeah,
screen.
it's very confusing and it's really just why, like, maybe Mr. Ritchie could explain it better.
It's easy to find.
But let's. Yeah.
Are you ready for comments, sir?
I am.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchett.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for explaining.
Chairman, not to.
Yes.
I'll use David, Fred, not to interrupt David, but I will. If it's of any assistance, because as David said, there's so many pictures of the river.
There are.
There are 3 pictures that are directly the answer to your question. And the reason to find, we filed the notice in April, it's dated April. Exactly, I think the 24th. It's dated April 2nd of 2024. This is the actual notice that's in the record. And this notice is what's on appeal before the Superior Court. But attached to the notice are 3 pictures of the bank. To answer your question, that's.
So this is his property.
That's his house.
And that's the, all the stones that have been taken out of the river and put up along the bank.
I think this is my property.
Okay,
So
so,
we think it's ours, but we'll just get to that.
so these are all the stones that have been put on the side of the bank.
These all came out of this.
Yeah, so the trees used to be the edge of the bank for the river, right? And now they pushed it out.
Okay.
Okay.
I just know these pictures. So these pictures depict along the base of the water, the base of the bank, that's river stuff. Along the top here is about the stone walls.
That's the stone wall he
That
brought in.
comes in from Newtown. Newtown rock, native. If you look at the 3 pictures, pretty clear. Second picture, you got Newtown rock up here on top.
So,
And those are the way, like,
Mr. Martin, that picture, it's the new.
those
That's where he raised the
Yeah,
property
I
with the
saw
new
those
cover.
pictures on the,
On the top, you go.
Increasing the property, lowering the sheet flow onto his property. He raised the property. He
Blocking.
Yeah.
sheet
I
flow.
see
Yes.
something, yeah, so
Does-
there's been.
Does
So
the,
the-
Go ahead, Paul.
the,
Pause for a second.
does
Go ahead,
Mr.
Paul.
Ritchie have any comments to add?
We're gonna get to Mr. Ritchie. We're just trying to get through a few other folks first.
Gotcha. No problem. Thank you.
And then the
Yep.
record he does.
Yeah, I think I saw those. pictures.
I
didn't know what they were.
apologize for not being able to show you these photos. We had asked for them to be submitted in advance so that we could pull them up for you, and I'm hopeful that
No
as we move
apologies
forward-
needed. My own fault. I'm not there in person.
Understood. Not the ones that you brought to us tonight.
No,
Those were not. And not the ones from last week that, or our last meeting. Those also were
I think
not.
I saw these on
It's
the.
it's challenging for us to have conversations when they're not in the record for everyone to
Right,
see.
but that's why I thought these are perfect, yeah, your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, did you want to rebut that, Mr. Blanchett, before I toss to Dave?
I would
Okay, we're gonna
let
pause it.
everybody try to get through a first round first
Gotcha.
before we go into rebuttals.
Fine.
As tempting
Well,
as that may
we
be.
had a rebuttal, so I wanted to level the playing field and offer him an opportunity, and then I will cut it off. Does that sound okay? Cool. Do you have a rebuttal that you wanted to make since he had an opportunity?
Rebuttal for what?
What he just shared?
Oh, well, I mean,
He wasn't rebutting the work done on the picture.
I'm not, yeah, I mean, I just want them to acknowledge the work that was done, so we can, yeah, right?
Okay. All right.
It's kinda-
You good if I move to Dave?
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
I want to make sure you have equal airtime. Okay. Dave, comments?
Okay, thank you very much, for everyone's patience tonight. I would hope everyone could afford a little bit more from me.
Yes.
I promise, to those online, especially Mr. Chairman, we will have a chance to, you guys will have a chance to air questions to Chuck and to Todd. You guys explicitly requested that they be here at the last meeting. Any questions that you have, I'm hoping what, I would share with you guys would better inform your questions to them. So that's why I'm gonna try to get in here now, while I have a chance for it. First of which, there's at least 2 years worth of testimony aggregated over the order to correct a previous application that was submitted and denied by this board, which is the subject of appeal that I don't want to get into. Okay, and then you have materials that were for tonight. So on top of the recordings for YouTube, whenever you have the time, all the documents are available on our website. Please go through them. And for whatever questions you have, in the likelihood that this gets continued to the next meeting, hopefully you'll have a chance to educate yourselves and get brought up to speed with where we are so that you're better prepared for the next. That being said, I really don't want to talk, to beat a dead horse for using those words and go over arguments that were made for what's in litigation now and other talking points that were being brought up before. Okay, that it wastes everybody's time. All right. And furthermore, this application, it's not a matter of appeasement. I said that at the last meeting, and I will repeat that again. This isn't. If the applicant does this, is that okay? If they do this, is that okay? That's not for you to tell the applicant what to do. The only thing you requested, going back to that order, was to submit an application for regulated activities because you couldn't make sense based on what had been submitted before for what was being done. So that's part of the reason why you're here tonight. If you want a simple comparison, it's like a building official. Okay, when they receive an application for a building permit, they're not telling the contractor how to construct the work, whether it's electrical or plumbing or what have you. They review it, they say it complies or it doesn't comply, and they give feedback. But as far as the construction methods, that's not what they offer. Okay, if the applicant's looking for someone to provide that for them, that's on them to hire that expert to do that. Okay, and you guys, as the commission, have made it pretty clear that that's part of what you're looking for as your testimony for rendering a decision on this application. Okay, I want to make sure I keep track of my talking points. And so that gets me to my next one. Most of the evidence that has been given, apart from the generalized description on the application, has all been verbal. It's time you got something to paper, whether it's a site plan, whether it's a report, or something else to that effect that says, this is specifically what I'm applying for. Instead of us using, subjective words like cleaning or remediating or repair or maintenance or whatever term that is chosen, it needs to be described. You should consider having some kind of a description on paper that substantiates that and is specific. Okay. And furthermore, you should have reports that are able to substantiate why those activities are compliant with your regulations as far as, substantiating that there's not going to be any permanent direct adverse impacts, temporary or permanent, to the water course. Okay. For what you've gotten right now, for what you have described to date, it hasn't been enough. You've gotten a remediation report from Mr. McManus. Staff was hoping that they would have been in attendance tonight, much like the intervener. They were given questions at the last meeting and some of their responses suggested that they may have been here to give you some kind of follow-up, if not necessarily for tonight's meeting, to say, hey, I understand this is something that you're looking for. I'll have this prepared by such and such a date so you guys can digest it, review it, and come back to me with questions. The intervener's kind of in a catch-22 because without having something specific that says what the applicant's applying for, they can't really say whether or not it's compliant. So you're putting the cart kind of before the horse if you're trying to work the other way around without having that. You should consider asking for a site plan, something that is consistent and specific across anything that's submitted. You have a remediation plan that shows one scope of work. You have a highlighted area on another site plan that was submitted as part of this application that shows another scope of work. The two should be able to readily correlate to the other. If I was in your shoes trying to gain testimony for this, there were some questions as to the intervener status and some other engineering related questions and legal questions that I really wasn't in a position to answer for at the last meeting. I'll try to use this as a springboard between Chuck and Todd, whichever one wants to go next, for what you guys had asked them for. They'll offer comment on that tonight. I would just ask that you keep what I had offered in mind tonight and what has been offered in the past when you ask their questions, and hopefully, there will be some progress that's made of this, because right now it seems that it's just this. Okay, so with that, I give the floor to either Chuck or Todd, whoever wants to go next. But in the meantime, I'd be happy to. Oh yeah, Madam Chair, for whoever you want to have.
I don't have a preference. They're both very valuable members of this conversation. Do either of you gentlemen have a preference as to who presents first, or?
Chuck Anderson, I was just here to, mainly there are questions about 22A19 and what's it mean. And I'm happy to address those issues. I mean, it's nothing. What it does is that if the applicant provides a verified petition alleging that this involves conduct that would cause unreasonable pollution or impairment, then the applicant has of a natural resource, the applicant has the burden to show that. And then if the commission finds it does involve unreasonable pollution or impairment and that there are no feasible and prudent alternatives, then then it should not grant the application. It's sort of it imposes additional findings obligations on the commission, but the applicant has a burden of proof to show those things. It also gives standing to people if they're not otherwise aggrieved to file appeals. I mean, that's there's outlines about what it does, but you know, if you had specific questions about what a 22A19 does, I'm happy to respond to those, but I'd love to hear from Todd about any details about the application too.
Can I ask one question?
Certainly.
Attorney Andrews, what's your definition of an impairment? Are we talking like impairment totally downstream? We talking impairment on a neighbor's property, flooding concerns? Is that impairment?
It's impairment to the resource. The resource here is a water course, and you know, I understand there's questions about flooding that's involved, and you can consider that, but that's what their burden is to show. In that, I mean, the applicant also has the general burden to show that it's complying with the regulations, and but that is what they have to show on an impairment of the resource at issue. That's what it means, harm to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chairman, Chuck, I'm not sure I heard you correctly. It's Neil Largis. Did you say that the applicant or the intervener has the burden of showing the commission that there'll be an unreasonable impairment?
Oh, the intervener has the burden of showing an unreasonable
You actually
impairment.
said the applicant.
Right. The applicant has the burden to show that it's entitled to the permit, but the intervener has the burden of demonstrating the unreasonable impairment of resource.
Thank you.
That's key. Thank you. Yeah, backwards.
In response to an application, correct?
Did you hear that, Attorney Anders? In response to an application, the intervener has that responsibility in response to an application, was the question from the intervener.
Yes, the intervener has the burden of proof to demonstrate the unreasonable pollution and that there are feasible and prudent alternatives. That's the intervener's burden of proof for a 22A19 petition. I also mentioned that apart from that, the applicant has its own burdens in filing any application, but yeah, for specifically on a 22A19, it's the intervener's burden of proof.
Thank you for clarifying. Does anyone have any more questions for the attorney at this time? We would love to hear from you, Mr. Ritchie.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Todd Ritchie, consulting engineer with SLR. Been doing on-call reviews for the town of Bethel for, I think it's about 8 years now, for both planning and zoning applications and wetlands applications. I'm a licensed professional civil engineer, board certified environmental engineer, and also a certified floodplain manager. Let me take a drink real quick. I've been sitting for a bit. Excuse me. So I tried to review everything that I could based on what was submitted. And I happened to have an initial comment about what was submitted or what hasn't been submitted in some sense. I mean, to make a determination, even for, and I would think, in my opinion, an intervener to make a determination if there's an adverse impact or I don't know what the exact terminology is. I mean, there needs to be information and details and data submitted with the application for public review and assessment. And I can't even determine as a professional engineer what is going on with this application, to be honest with you, quite honest with you, for what has gone on in the past. I did go through the photos. I heard the testimony tonight. I hear that, discussion about this rock and that rock or these rocks or those rocks and different things like that. But I think the most important thing too is that I think the attorney had mentioned that whether this is not a is or is not a regulated activity. And I can tell you from a standpoint of floodplain management, it is a highly regulated activity. I don't know if he's aware of the fact that all of this activity is actually in the floodway. And, you know, if you look at state statutes and also FEMA, you know, filling in a floodway in Connecticut is highly restricted and generally prohibited unless you can prove via complex engineering analysis that it causes no increase in flood levels. And it often requires costly compensatory storage or making it impossible in high velocity areas, such as narrow floodways. So regulations are there already in place to say, regardless of whether it's in the Inland Wetlands Agency's strict and only purview, but the towns itself and perhaps another department or agency is certainly required to review a detailed application such as this from the standpoint of flood compliance, and also if there's anything that needs to be mitigated relative to that. Filling in a floodplain is regulated. Filling in a floodway is highly regulated and is discouraged. And altering a floodplain or floodway is discouraged. And just to provide, I'd like to share my screen if I can, just so it's clear. You see how to do this. I'm not familiar as much with Google. 1 second.
Jurisdictions and other agencies is.
Dave, maybe could have got me which button is the share button. Hold on. Share screen. There we go. Let me see. So I'll start with this. This is, if you could see this, 1 second. You see my screen? The map, is it up? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, sure. This is Town of Bethel GIS. This just shows the property. And of course, this is not the surveyed boundary, but you know, it's generally consistent with or close to. This is the water course here. And when you look at the layering, I apologize, we have a cleaner coming through and I'll try to keep them away from me. This is the FEMA flood hazard areas for this area. So the existing structure or house that's here is already in the flood zone. It's in the floodway, and it will be flooded regardless of anything that's done along these banks. I mean, the flood waters can reach out to the edges of these colored areas, and the floodway itself is the narrow hatched area, which
we can see.
Yeah, could you zoom out, Mr. Ritchie? I don't know.
sorry, I apologize. So which is right here, and that, and you know, that can flood under any.
We're not seeing your pointer, sir.
We can only see a very small segment of it.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I realized that I didn't. I have to reshare. My bad.
You have the map pointing to the right.
I understand.
So I could just again back up and just,
Yeah, it's much more instructional.
you can see it now, right?
Yep, that's much better. Thank you so much.
I apologize. I'm just not used to this platform. So this is again the GIS with the flood zone overlay, flood hazard areas overlaid. The blue being the 100-year floodplain, or the 1% chance storm floodplain, and the hatched area being the floodway, and the orangish color being the 500-year or 0.2% annual chance floodplain. So as you can see, that if we're talking about this structure here, which it appears that we are, and I'm not certain of that because I can't really tell what this application includes, this structure itself and everything within the water course and between the water course and the structure is within the floodway. Again, highly regulated area, and it's also within the floodplain, as you can see. So any activity that goes on in there is highly regulated, and anything that changes it is altered in the flood way can alter flood flows. There was talk about large boulders that could potentially impact flow. Well, yeah, if you move large boulders around, then they could change the flow too. So and it changes the dynamics of the friction along the water course and how the water flows through the channel when it's channelized, and then ultimately it spreads out into the floodplain.
Mr. Ritchie?
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you repeat that? So changing the configuration of rocks in the stream will adjust the course of the water? Is that what you're saying?
It can adjust the speed of the water, and it can adjust the where erosion occurs, because
Thank you.
there's gonna be changes to the dynamics of the flow of water. And if you change the speed of water, velocity of water is what causes erosion. And because eventually it comes in contact with stationary banks of the river or objects, and rocks, such as rocks, and it's just a very complex environment where the flood flows through that channel the way it's been flowing through that channel. And if something alters it, it can change the dynamics of how it flows.
And that doesn't just affect the floodplain, correct? It affects the flow. Because I'm sure.
Well, I mean, from the standpoint of flow within the conveyance of the flood, which the conveyance of the flood is everywhere that you see colored in.
Thank you.
So, with that being said, it's a little bit difficult to hear that somebody's going to say that, well, we made a mistake and we'll just throw everything back in there if they want us to, because from a flood management standpoint, well, it's already been done. You can't put it back to where it was, because nobody even knows where that is, because we don't even have a map that shows where anything is. So I think that's a little disingenuous to say something like that. I think what needs to be done here is there needs to be a plan showing details and listing out the activities that are proposed, and all that activity needs to be not only approved by this commission, but the town flood manager, which would go through the planning and zoning commission, because they're the flood and erosion commission.
Mr. Richard, have you ever reviewed something similar to this in the past, where work was done and then things were trying to be remediated or dealt with after the fact?
I mean, I've looked at all sorts of different projects, in that sense. And yes, certainly people like to try to go in and do things on their own, in their own way. But, it's something that, I think in this case, an engineer needs to be involved, and somebody needs to sign off on this, and it doesn't need to be me or the town. So some professional that's licensed. Mr. McManus is not a licensed, engineer. So he can talk about what can be done from a standpoint of what he feels ecologically should be done, but he's not an engineer.
Right. I apologize for interrupting. Did you have more that you wanted to present?
I just wanted to say, I also looked at the photos and videos that are on the record, and I heard the applicant speaking about wanting to fill behind the house, several feet of fill. And I can just tell you, anything that displaces not only the floodplain, but the floodway particularly, is, again, highly regulated. So if material has been brought in from off-site and deposited anywhere within these colored areas on the plant, the blue or the hatched area, that's a regulated activity just by default. I mean, you're displacing flood storage volume if you bring in material on site that displaces, and you put it on the ground where it can, flood waters come in contact with, because it can displace that volume that the flood waters would be taking up. And I hear that, Mr. McManus tried to, to minimize, the need for analysis or anything like that. But I mean, well, then what's the threshold? I don't think anybody's mentioned that, because there is not a specific threshold for where an analysis or details of, what proposed activities are being done, particularly filling, in floodplains and floodways, there's not a minimum. I mean, if you could point that out, that'd be helpful. But I don't think that's something that applies here. So I would just say, you know, like again, not knowing if, based on the applicant's own words and the videos that were submitted, whether Bill was brought in to raise behind the structure several feet. And, you know, I mean, this house is going to flood, unfortunately. You know, it's very unfortunate that it is where it is on the property, and it's going to be impacted. There's no way around that. And there's nothing that's going to be done that's going to stop that. And I think it's important to know that if you do armor certain things, it does change the dynamics, and it requires somebody to, you know, review that, analyze it, that has the skill set and, you know, the credentials and is licensed to be able to sign off on it, because they, you know, you need somebody to put their name on it and say there's not going to be any adverse impacts.
And that person would be an engineer. Is
Yes,
that what you're saying?
yeah, licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm open to any questions. I don't, you know.
Would that engineer be, I'm sorry, I keep hearing it, a geohydrologist? That's the word?
No, the type of analysis that needs to be done is a hydrologic and hydraulic analysis, which is in the realm of civil engineer.
Civil engineer. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
May I ask a question of our attorney?
Yeah, can we hold on? Thanks.
Sure. Sorry.
Are there any other commission members that have any more questions for Mr. Ritchie?
Nope, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for taking that off the screen, Mr. Ritchie. Thank you so much for all of that valuable information. Mr. Parafort had a question for Attorney Andrus.
Mr. Attorney Andrews, sorry. This is a little unique because we have an intervener here. When you're talking about the 22-819 and the burden of proof he has, it sounds to me like you're talking about when there's a pending permit for work to be completed. In this case, work has been completed without a permit, so he is demonstrating effects to his property or impairments onto his property. Is there a difference there? Do you follow what I'm saying? It sounds to me like the 22-819 is for if there's a permit in process, the intervener comes in and says, hey, hold on, this is going to do this to my property. In this situation, work already had been like the horses before, or the wagons before the horse.
Yeah, I think I understand your question.
Sorry, I'm not very clear.
Right. No, I think there's two things going on. That's why I emphasize the applicant himself has the burden to show that they meet the criteria for a permit. Have they done that? Have they shown all that? That's sort of one thing. Sort of over and above that, when you have a 22-819 petition, in theory, even if they meet the criteria for the regulations, you could find it still involves unreasonable pollution given the circumstances, and for which there is a feasible and prudent alternative. So that is you know, in theory you could find that. I think your question, I understand your question is, can they satisfy their burden by showing that the applicant has caused an unreasonable pollution, and that there are feasible and prudent alternatives? Yeah, I mean, if you credit the applicant, if you provide that, I mean, again, a lot of times, just as the applicant may need expert evidence, the intervener may need expert evidence as well. If we're looking at that, typically most intervention applications do have expert evidence. So I'm kind of drawing the distinction, though, that again, there's initial application, the applicant's burden of going forward? And then the intervener above that, what have they done to show that? Have they shown that there's been an unreasonable pollution from what has occurred and, you know, caused by this application? And what is the evidence to support that? Do you need expert on that evidence on that? I mean, when I've seen 22A19s, a lot of times there will be some expert evidence, but you look at all of the evidence and make your decision.
So last question, I apologize. In this situation with the 22A19, this board does not have to render any decision on that or anything. We're just rendering a decision on the permit that is in front of us, correct? That's something like we don't have, is there any consideration we give that or any?
Yeah, I don't want to say that if 22A19 petition has been filed, you should make a finding on that, but that's sort of over and above and separate from the criteria of whether they've satisfied their criteria for an inland wetlands permit. And you know, that would be supplemental. If you got to the decision stage, depending on what you decided, you could have separate findings on that issue.
So just to make sure that I'm clear on that, because there was some discussion at the last meeting where it was presented, it sounded like what was presented to the board sounded like it is the opinion of Attorney Marcus that unless the intervener presents enough evidence to support the fact that his claims are valid, that we would need to approve the application. And to me, that isn't really what we're finding. We need to approve or not approve the application on the merits of the application. Can you clarify?
No, I didn't understand. I didn't understand Attorney Marcus to claim that. I think the applicant, the intervener has a burden of proof to show their criteria under 22A19, but that's a whole separate issue as to whether the applicant, just like any applicant, whether or not there's a 22A19 application submitted, has satisfied the criteria for a permit. So those are separate.
Thanks for the clarification. That was what I had thought. Floor is open, commission members, if anyone else has questions or comments.
I have one more question, if I may. Sorry, or Attorney Andrews, not Attorney Marcus. This started years ago. It was like 3 commissions back that I was on when this started.
Yes.
There was a permit in front of us then.
No,
No.
No.
no, there was not.
Okay.
There was a
I call them a
request
cease and desist order, but they're entitled a revised order to correct.
Okay. What more information have you given us now than you did then? I'm not seeing anything really additional.
Well,
besides a couple pictures, and let us just keep doing what we're doing.
We stopped the work at that point.
Understood what we have done. Sorry.
Yeah, and Jim McManus then filed his reports.
Okay.
And in reality, nothing's changed on the site since Jim McManus filed his report. Nothing, except for we had one more serious flood August a year ago.
Okay.
But that's yeah. Right. So there's not a lot of new information. You're absolutely correct.
Right. So
there's no pending engineering report.
No, not at all.
And last meeting you said you would not do a site plan.
No, because quite honestly, you can see the site. You don't need a plan.
No, a survey.
Yeah,
survey.
No, we were not going to invest in an updated survey. The survey hasn't changed either. The buildings are all in the same location. The outline of the property is the same. Nothing's changed. The only work was he did some cleanup of the river and built some stone walls. That's it. And so,
but there is a dispute as to where the property lines lie.
Dispute by whom?
By the intervener.
Well, let them show a survey. We don't dispute.
Okay, so
we'll rely on the old survey.
The dispute is that you say the property line lies here and he says it lies there. So the dispute lies between the two of you.
No, we say that a surveyor set the property lines and we don't dispute them. Period. We didn't do it.
Unless
We
I'm
didn't
missing
know the
something,
property.
the intervener stated that he believes some of this work took place on his property.
Yeah, so let him show us the survey.
There was work that was performed initially.
On other people's
Oh,
property.
that we agreed to. We admitted that he was, but it wasn't on his property. It was Mr. Kellogg.
Mr. Blanchett was up here a moment ago
Yeah.
and stated that he believes that work was.
The only thing that the
Don't-
property lines stay the same. The river, where the river, you're basing where the line is off of where the river is in the photo, where you should be basing everything off of where the property line is.
No, that's not, let me be clear. We're basing the property line based on the survey that we did submit.
The one from 1972.
So then it shows the river right next to it.
It's 50 years old.
But to Rita's point, that
The river does move in 50 years.
So then why are you basing the property lines off of
but
something that's a
then-
moving
Because,
target?
because the property line doesn't use the river as the property line.
so
That's
So
why.
when the river moves,
Very
it
simple.
can't fit, yeah.
there's so much I'm biting in the bit here.
So is
Go
that,
ahead, go ahead.
No,
You gotta understand the basics as you go through this.
I understand the
no,
basics.
so
I'm not sure Mr. Blanchett does, but
I have no idea. Just tell me how it is.
I would like to know whether I requested staking of the property line before we went out to do the site visit. So this is a discrete amount of space here, and this and whatever from 50 years ago.
yeah, whatever the date is.
I want to know where that mark is today.
We showed it. It was there. when we
You
were on
did
site,
not.
and
That was not staked.
That was there and that was, okay, the flag actually, Mark Jordan stood there and said, if you look through there, that's the corner flag right there. We were looking at it, standing on the riverbank.
This is the driveway, sir.
Yes, no, no.
This is Rockwell Road.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, up there, up
This
there.
is the driveway.
Up there.
I'm asking about this stake.
Yeah. These two stakes on the river were there.
Well, that's,
Our walk.
but the state,
But
that,
we redo them. I mean, that's easy. That's the only issue.
That's
No,
fine.
it's
Far
not the
from
only
the only issue.
So,
Far from the only
if
issue.
I may,
Yes.
so,
it's not right here.
Okay.
sir,
This right here. Okay.
sir, yes,
What you're thinking is this, the pin that you see, you think it's here, but I'm telling you, the pin that you see is actually over here.
Well,
You think the pin you see is this.
I know what you're,
Yeah,
thank you for
sorry.
clarifying, and we can discuss whether or not you require a survey. Can I give Dave, go ahead.
I just wanted to offer one comment, if I may,
Please.
Madam Chair. The only thing you have to say where the area of work is a highlighter being taken to a survey that was previously done on the property.
Correct.
To show where that area is, but there's been no expert that has definitively located where work has taken place to confirm that area that's highlighted on that plan is accurate.
Great.
Okay, and that's part of what the comment that I was offering before between the area that's highlighted on this application and the area, the scope area that's shown on Mr. McManus's report from 2023. They're not the same. And the only way to kind of make amends to that is you have an expert say, okay, well, the applicant has to figure out where the area of work is, what they're going to call the area of work. And then you would have some kind of expert who's licensed to do that work to locate things.
And that would be a
Put that
surveyor,
on-
correct?
Well, you would have that shown on a survey. You would have that shown on the survey.
Which we have requested but has not been submitted. Is that correct?
That's all you have right now is a survey that's been highlighted to show.
By Jim McMahon.
Right.
all right, so
Exactly.
David,
Just-
can I mention
the
something?
only thing
I see you, Mr. Ritchie.
The
Just a
only
moment.
thing I see, more information that we've gained in 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is we finally confirmed that there actually is a bridge. Before it was denied it was a bridge, now it's a bridge.
There's no bridge.
You said yourself
go.
that it was a bridge, but
Last meeting you
let's
said it was a
drop
bridge,
it.
but that's okay. It has to go here and there.
It's not productive. I'm gonna put a
It
stop
has-
to
it
the
has no-
conversation.
So
Yeah.
here's what I would like. I
Samantha.
would like a detailed site plan
Okay.
developed and approved by a qualified engineer with details of plan outlining all activity and the scope of all activity.
Which is what we've been asking for actually.
I
for
want to make it
weeks,
perfectly clear
months,
what we're looking for. I'm
years,
not looking for it.
And I want a court to tell me that I don't have to do that. So the question is
So
there
then we
a
have to
compromise
do
in between? That's why we're here.
And I think what you're
There is no
getting from us
compromise.
is that week
We
after
don't want to
meeting
compromise.
after
I'm
meeting.
getting that. That's
Yep.
fine. That's
We're
fine.
not-
You don't have to. But I do want to make a few comments.
I want to
I
pause
like
you for a
to turn-
second. I would absolutely give
We're done.
space for your comments. Mr. Ritchie?
If I'm not mistaken, what is being called the survey, is the plan, that has a yellow line on it and then it says,
Can you see this? I know it's really hard.
how about if I share my screen again and I'll see if you can confirm for me.
Walk
Do I
it
have
towards
an-
the camera if you
That's
want.
that's not what was submitted as part of
Oh,
this
it's not.
application.
Uh-uh.
That was from Previous material.
All a million years ago? Okay.
Right.
I apologize. I'm not walking it towards the camera. It's not working.
Okay, that's fine. Let me see if I can get it. I don't know what's going on here, but, I mean, the one I'm looking at, I mean, I guess whatever's being claimed as a survey, is it signed and sealed and stamped by a licensed surveyor in the state of Connecticut?
The 71 survey is signed and sealed and
Is
recorded.
this
in
the
land
71
records.
survey that you're referencing? So it is this.
Yeah, this is, again, Todd, this is file 13, map 119 of Bethel Land Records. And it was received for record on December 22, 1971 in Henrique's in New Canaan, in Richfield and Bethel, certified, and it was my old friend, the late Dave Ryan, who did it. Let's see this signature years. Anyway, there's a Dave Ryan A2 survey. That's what's there. And then what Jim McManus has done is he's lifted a portion of that. This is a photostat of a portion of the A2 survey in which he defined the area that he studied and that the work was observed. That's what we have. Now, to me, I can't get a surveyor to go out and tell you what was there before any of this work was done, because it's done. But I can tell you, if you go out there, you can see exactly what it is.
I
We're
don't
not
want my
disputing that
lines,
there
I
was work
don't,
done. That's not the
I
question
want
on
an
the table.
engineered
I know what you want.
site plan.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of coloring the rocks and put back, but I need an engineer to color those rocks and put them back.
I
I can't tell you, I'm not
honestly,
qualified for that, nor are you.
We're gonna spend a few $1,000s to finish this appeal.
Mhm.
We're not gonna spend it on an engineer unless it settles the appeal.
No, I can
If
understand.
you're telling me that that is the only thing you need to finish this, then I'm gonna recommend to my client that he do exactly what you're saying, but
But that
the rest
isn't the
of
only thing
that-
that we have
that's
said that we
correct.
needed.
That's the
And the fact of
opinion
the matter
of
is,
one commission.
if you listen to Mr. Ritchie, well, agree
Well,
with
there's no topographic survey. I mean, how do you even know the contours on this property to know what the river channel looks like?
If you listen to Mr. Ritchie and listen to what David McCollum said at your last meeting, the basic issue here is floodplain. And a floodplain permit should be from the zoning commission, not from this commission. So to the extent that we have to go back and do this all over with another commission, I'd rather just finish what's before the Superior Court, because it's a no-win situation. We're going to continue to spend money on this application, not knowing that it's ever going to resolve it. And then we can go start with the zoning commission.
So
Or-
you're presenting us an incomplete application
No,
without
no, no,
enough
no, no,
information
no.
for us to rule on it in any capacity.
We gave you a complete application. We've showed you in the field the work that we have done, that we're asking you to permit. And if you go to Jim McManus's report from October
I
of
have read it.
23, the restoration plan, he didn't draw it because quite honestly, as he said, it's 176 feet along the river. Jim McManus says, complete the repair of the undercut and eroded bank. That's easy. It's where it is. We don't have to map it. It's there.
He's not an engineer, sir.
I know he
was also,
I
he
know
was
he
also
is.
very specific,
One bank-
listening to the last meeting.
Yeah.
I think he was very specific multiple times, saying he only reviewed a portion of the work that was
That's
performed
correct.
without a permit.
That's
So
correct.
that's not incomplete.
We have
Once
this,
once the bank is repaired, he's suggesting that the temporary wood bridge, the scaffold, be removed, and it's already been done. That's been done. Any exposed upland soils will have straw mulch applied once planting is complete. Well, we can't complete the planting because we're stopped.
we're not anywhere near that yet.
I know, well, we're gonna report this to a Superior Court judge very soon. We're near it. The affected area will be prepared for planting of the proposed shrubs in accordance with Table 1. He gave you a planting plan. That's what these guys do. That's his business. He's qualified to do it. And the shrubs will be planted on the eastern bank of the river. That's the restoration plan.
But
Now,
then
the
one
extent that we
step,
have to go for a floodplain permit to say that the stone walls that were built in the back of the house, I don't disagree with Todd Ritchie. We may have to go for a floodplain.
but just on his report alone where it says, and you read it and I apologize, I'll paraphrase, like finish repairing the
Stabilize.
stabilize.
Yes.
I think that's like a 20-page thing, not a one sentence. That's like, how are you gonna
There's
repair it?
the
What are you gonna do?
plan.
How
Well,
are
he
you
just
gonna
told
do
you,
it?
you're gonna put shrubs in there, recommended. That's, he said, so now, at that point, this project, the bank will be stable and the river will be clean of debris.
What-
That's all
so-
we've done.
But again, I told you what I'm looking for. There's reasons I'm looking for that, not just for what's going forward, but what damage was done prior and how to repair that damage. I'm not an engineer. You're not an engineer. I'd like someone, and Mr. Ritchie, thank you for that. I like someone with a detailed plan saying, we're doing A, B, C, and D. This is the effect each one will have, and this is why it should or should not be approved.
The purpose of our appearing before you, this whole application was done to try to settle a piece of litigation. We're obviously wasting our time, and that's fine. I mean, I can do that.
Dave?
Thank you.
I'm gonna go in rare form here and qualify both Mr. Marcus's and Mr. Ritchie's statements, which I wasn't expecting to do this, but I'm gonna try my best. And I would welcome both of them to interject if there's anything that I say out of line, but I don't think I'm going to, okay? First one is, I don't want, this commission shouldn't get any idea to assume any authority that it doesn't have, okay? As far as the floodplain matter goes, Attorney Marcus is correct, and so is Mr. Ritchie. This does need to get reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission as far as the floodplain and the floodway are concerned, okay? That's explicitly spelled out in your zoning regulations, okay? It's not part of your authority for wetlands, okay? Well, let's go back to what I had said at the previous meeting. Your application stems entirely on how the regulated resource is affected, okay? You're looking at the wetland and you're looking at the water course. So keep that in mind and remember a phrase that Mr. Ritchie had offered as part of his comments earlier. If that work has been done near the bank of the water course to change its velocity, or where erosion occurs, what testimony do you have to show that that change, A, what is it? And B, does it present a long-term adverse impact in some way or some form where you could not, authorize a permit because it's not compliant with the regulations? That's the vein you need to take when it comes to getting testimony, okay? Don't focus on the floodway thing because you're looking at it from the wrong argument, okay? It's all about the wetland and the water course, okay? That's part of why you're looking for that info from an engineer. And that's not to say that what Mr. McManus has submitted so far today, as far as his restoration plan, isn't useful, because it is. But you need to have something that qualifies that to say, this is what we want to do, and this is why it complies because, and I think the part that comes after the because is what you're asking for. I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's my understanding.
Yeah.
And I welcome anything that you have, to ask Mr. Ritchie or Mr. Andrews to clarify that, but I think that's where you need to focus.
No, I think it's been made very clear that we don't consider or take into account the floodplain or those, and then it's part of the zoning board. Absolutely. And I'm not, I would have a whole bunch of other questions for that, but that doesn't pertain to this. I'm just looking for, like you said, the backup data to understand exactly what's going to be done and how it affects cause and effect. So, thank you. Again, this is my opinion. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. They may feel totally different.
Well, you shouldn't be in any position to offer opinions right now. You should just be taking the question.
Okay.
Okay.
That is my review of that.
Thank you.
Did you have more?
I think I agree with Pat to the extent that, in terms of understanding how the work has affected the water flow, affected the erosion, I just don't think we know yet enough to really make a decision. I mean, for me, that's how I feel. And then I think a site plan and then a detailed plan would be extremely helpful.
Paul, did you have more comments or questions that you wanted to bring up this evening?
No, not at the moment. I have, I'm just listening intently here, taking some notes, and I agree with Pat as far as would a site plan and as much information as we could get would be amazing, but the applicant seems like he's making it pretty clear that they don't intend to do that. So I'm sitting here racking my head to try to find middle ground is not the right word, but what would be a fair compromise, and I haven't come up with anything yet. So I'll just leave it at that, and if something else pops up, I'll raise my hand.
Thanks, Paul. Mary, did you have any questions or comments or anything further on this for this evening?
I did. Yes, sorry. She has to pop on screen for a minute. I'm kind of on the same page as Paul. I'm really just a little more information with the engineering and all of that would be very helpful, I think.
Thank you. Did your little cute little sweet baby want to weigh in on any of that?
Has so much to say, you guys don't have the time.
Thanks for sharing.
That's why I relegated myself to the basement, because mine's upstairs arguing with her mom about going to bed. She's 3, by the way.
Thankfully, she can't argue yet.
Oh, we will.
I know.
Thank you. All right. Did you have further comments on this tonight before?
The last thing I would offer is your period to conduct this public hearing runs out before your next regular scheduled meeting. You may want to consider requesting the applicant to grant an extension to continue to the next meeting. What's the date? January
22nd or 26th?
26th? Okay, to get you that. So otherwise, this public hearing period would otherwise end on December 29th.
Or we could schedule a special session if needed, if that was going to be productive.
If you wanted to, that's at your discretion.
Just offering all of the options on the table. So
The 29th of December.
everyone wants to be here on the 29th of December, right?
Nominated you.
You did. Okay. Noted.
Madam
Chair? Yes.
Quick question. If we were to continue this, are we expecting to receive more information from anyone between now and then?
I would ask you to pose that to Attorney Marcus, but it sounded like the answer was no.
If I can answer that question, we've been before this commission now, this is the 3rd proceeding. We're now actually before 3 different commissions. We're exhausted. We have nothing else to present, Paul.
Okay.
Go out, take a look at the site, and if you think that there's an impact on the wetlands or water courses that is not addressed in McManus's report, just tell us and we'll fix it. But we're not going to start a floodplain application here at this point. If we need to go before the zoning commission, we'll do it. But you know, there's nothing else. We're just wasting your time actually at this point. There's nothing else to present. You've got everything. It's a small acre property with 176 feet of activity. That's it.
Okay. I will talk to go through our staff to set up maybe a time that I could stop by this coming weekend, just quickly and take a walk around if it's okay with you guys.
Absolutely. Mr. Bajorkin's here and he's available to show you where the site is, you know, just
So
point
that
you in
would-
the right direction.
That would hinge on us, separate from that, that would hinge on us either not closing it out tonight and asking for an extension.
Actually, if he goes on his own and you don't have a meeting. it's
No, that's
public
not what
hearing.
I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying if we're closing it tonight, then there's no purpose.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We were talking about a continuation.
No.
I popped in, so I apologize.
Multiple times I've been.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see you, Mr. Ritchie.
I've been there for the whole thing.
Does that make sense to you, Paul?
Yes.
Can you give me 1 second? I'll put you in the queue. Mr. Ritchie?
Just a question for clarification of maybe Attorney Marcus could recap what's being proposed as part of this application, specifically the nature of the work, just because any work other than it's any work other than basically installing plants or ground cover, if it has to do with stabilizing, I think I heard Mr. McManus's report said to perform more stabilization. I mean, that type of work has to be done by, designed and overseen and signed off by a professional engineer. Because this is this is a water course. It's the bank of a water course. Anything susceptible to flood and erosion needs to be reviewed, designed, signed off on by a licensed professional engineer to ensure that it's done properly, designed properly, executed properly. And, otherwise, what is the commission really approving? The thought that somebody is going to engage the right professional at some point to do certain things that are listed as activities in this application, because there's no details of anything so that I could see that's specific to location or the type of work that is being proposed specifically. So I just caution the commission to, if you're looking to sort of parse out what maybe you're in favor of, or maybe still trying to, I know there's obviously hangups on the site plan and everything else, but I mean, ultimately, if there's activities proposed and it has to do with anything technical, and it has to do with erosion control or permanent stabilization, then that has to be designed and signed off by a licensed professional engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie.
My comment on that, one comment.
Please.
I'll agree, Todd, with your suggestion that if we take up Jim's suggestion that we complete the repair of the undercut and eroded bank, we do it under the supervision of a licensed engineer, and we report it to the commission and allow the commission's agent to observe the work when it's being done. That I agree with you.
I disagree, Mr. Marcus. It has to be designed by a professional engineer, not reported to and observed. It must be designed by and performed by qualified people. I mean,
Okay.
when you say we, I actually don't know if that means you as well. Going out and doing that.
We being the applicant, but if the condition is to complete the repair of the undercut eroded bank as designed by a professional engineer and overseen, that would be no problem. As a matter of fact, if it were to be designed by you and paid for by my client as a town engineer, that would be fine too. I mean, it's 176 feet. It's not a long strip.
Okay, I guess we can agree on that. I think you left off the professional engineer part.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Well,
That's a reasonable compromise.
Mr. Marcus, did you just say that you are willing to have the work that has currently been done reviewed by a professional engineer and signed off on?
Yes.
And the work
And also
that would resolve the issue and to complete the repair of the undercut bank as designed by that. So again,
that's what we've been asking for.
Yeah, no, you want a site plan. That's a lot different. You want to just go get a survey and a site plan. It's a lot different.
This is another thing that we've been asking for. This is another thing that's been on the table for all of our discussions.
But between you and me, Chuck Andrews is sitting there. I'm looking at him. I don't think he's looking at me because of the way the cameras are. You're looking good tonight, Chuck. But we have a case to resolve. And if you want to give him the parameters by which you would be happy to resolve that case, we'll do it. We will negotiate those. He'll report it back to you. I'll report it back to Mr. Jordan. It will come up with a compromised language. That's easy. But we've got to report back to a judge. And then we got to approve it. But that's the way I would do it. And I would take Todd's recommendation as to how to draft language. That's fine.
Attorney Anders, did you want to weigh in on this?
We can, if there's some parameters that we think would resolve it, there's sort of two issues. First of all, we can always, there's pending litigation. We can meet in executive session at some point before the court thing. So we can talk about stuff. But the issue is I'm unclear whether Mr. Marker's agreeing that one way to resolve it is to approve this permit with all the design stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever, that would be one thing, but if there's something else, another way to resolve cases is you enter a stipulation in court to resolve a case, and you come up with something, and then you vote on it at a public at a meeting. But what we were thinking about is if this were, I mean, I guess I'm encouraged by the recent agreements by Mr. Marcus that a professional engineer design and approve the work. And I think his objections is a site plan. But I don't know if that solves all the questions that the commission has. And again, I realize that some of you still want to do a site walk and so forth. So, you know, that's all I have right now, but that's kind of where those are my takes.
What's the difference between having a professional engineer make a plan and review it and sign off on it versus a site plan? Is it
About $5,000. That's the difference.
like, it sounds like it's almost the same thing. Is it not the same thing?
Go ahead.
A site plan requires an A2 survey to be updated. So they send the surveying team out there to do a perimeter survey of the site and locate all the structures and any of the improvements. That's a major cost. Then the professional engineer takes that and it does its evaluation of, for example, the stability of a bank, the erosion. Should there be different sized riprap? And then that recommendation comes from an engineer usually as part of a engineered report, a plan. But the cost is in developing the site. To me, it's a waste of money. We know where the buildings are. They're not moving. They're there. We don't really care about where the corner of the property is up on the road. It's irrelevant. What's relevant is the bank at the top and the bank at the bottom. And that's where Mr. Bajorkin was working and was stopped. So that we'll have an engineer look at. That's fine.
So you
So
can
it would
present,
include-
you're willing to have a professional engineer develop a plan to complete this work
And to review the work that
and to
has been done.
revert the work that was done.
If we've got an idea of a restoration plan that will be acceptable, yes.
That would be on the engineer to present to us, would it not?
Only if you're saying that if he successfully designs it, it meets your requirements, then it would be. But if he successfully designs it, and then you say, well, next week I'd really like a floodplain study.
We have no jurisdiction on floodplain.
Well, I don't know that. So as to say, if you,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. I'd suggest that you actually caucus, take a look at the site if you haven't seen it. And Paul, take a look at the site. Caucus with your attorney, as he said. You can do it in an executive session and see if you can come back with a proposal that settles this.
Are you willing to give us an extension if we request one?
If you need, absolutely, but I don't think we need to extend the public hearing. This is not public hearing stuff.
But
This
can
is
we,
negotiation of the settlement.
can we take that information, and this is just a legal thing, I don't know. After the public hearing is closed, can we still take the information from your engineer to help us determine approval or denial?
I'm sure, I believe that's a question for our attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I see you, Paul.
If it's a condition of the settlement, Chuck, can they take it after after the case is finished? It's been settled.
But I
Those are
thought,
conditions to perform a settlement. In my mind.
I would suggest you get an extension and see if we can work stuff out, because you don't want to preclude, closing the hearing and there's no new evidence you can hear.
and I'm very open to having an engineer develop a plan, but I'm not just gonna sit there and say, oh yeah, any plan he develops, you're gonna approve. I just need to see it first. And if that engineer can do it,
No. He's taking.
I've seen partial site plans. In other words, you don't need the whole property surveyed or so forth, but just the affected area. That's what he's
I
suggesting.
just
in
got the site
engineer.
plan done, so I know how much it costs, okay? And If the engineer can develop a plan like we've been talking about without a site plan, okay.
Yeah.
My opinion, my feeling is I need to see something from a qualified engineer on the work that was performed and the work that's going to be done, how it's going to be done, and then, the effects that it will have on the wetlands. If that makes sense.
If it resolves the case ultimately, that's fine. Yes.
Yeah, and Neil, you know they can't say that.
I can't just
Without having seen it, you can't say. Yeah, I think that's
That's the same thing you said the last 2 times.
Yeah.
Paul had his hand up. Mr. Shanley?
Yes. Hi. Okay.
I see you. Paul, I'm sorry.
No, you're right. I just want to make sure I'm understanding Mr. Marcus correctly. You're saying that, and I'm just gonna speak off the hip here. If the town engineer was willing and able to evaluate the work that was done and then give a plan, either say yes, it's great and sign off on it, or create a plan to repair or modify the work that was done, and then create a plan to finish the work, you guys would be okay paying for that and allowing that to quote unquote be the site plan to go to finish this deal off. Is that kind of what you're saying? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's kind of what I'm saying. I'd like to see a proposal, what it's going to cost on open book.
Okay, no, yeah, okay. So I
I
want to make sure I understood what you were saying. And then my next comment
I'm not working that, so.
No, I know that. I didn't say you were. I didn't say you were, because actually my next comment in question was to you, Mr. Ritchie. As in your professional opinion, would you be able to do that, or and maybe not you, or would a engineer be able to do that without the complete surveys that Mr. Marcus was saying that they don't want to do?
Well, let me.
Is that even possible? Is what I'm asking.
Like, first of all, like me or SLR is not going to be doing that. We're the town's consultant engineer. We would be the ones to review the work that somebody else did.
Right. You'd have to hire a third party.
Right. So,
Okay.
well, we would be the third party for the town. So, so we would be reviewing what the engineer for the applicant proposed. And in another sense, it's a little bit difficult, as we said. I'm glad we've gotten to this point where there's acknowledgement that an engineer should be involved. But it is difficult to basically say, okay, we're going to prove that an engineer should be involved after the fact. I mean, how many other applications do you also take in that involve site work that you don't have a site plan for? So I don't think this is necessarily going to set a precedent, hopefully, but imagine every applicant coming in and giving a 50-year-old survey. And yes, water courses are not stationary. So that's the whole point of this thing. There's a water course on the property. Things can change, slopes can change of the water course over time, erosion, all of those different things. We don't even know what the steepness of the slopes are because we don't have any information for that. So I would like to see this move forward. I understand that it's in, two different arenas here. And you're trying to come to some sort of at least path forward. I don't know what the commission is willing to accept. I obviously, regardless, as a town's consultant, I would be involved in reviewing whatever that would be proposed for at least the part that's the stabilization. I'm just surprised also, though, if this application does have to go to planning and zoning, I'd be surprised if planning and zoning is going to say you don't need a site plan for something you're proposing in a flood zone. So that's so I don't know where. I think that it's like 6 in one, half dozen the other. Like, where are we? Because I think if this gets resolved, then the site plan is going to come after, probably for planning and zoning, but not for you.
Well, I can say, just given that my history, and I just left the Planning and Zoning Commission. Usually it starts with a site plan right away.
Sure. And let me just, I'm sorry, I just want to say one more thing. Let me explain to you like what it would actually be. It wouldn't be a full survey of the entire property except for the boundary itself. The area that's affected, if it's, everybody can, a town agent can agree upon with others, maybe Mr. McManus out there, whomever, maybe the commission members go out themselves and get an idea of what they feel the extent of the impact was. Then the topographic portion of the survey can be limited to that area. It doesn't have to be a topographic survey with elevations and, trees, contours, whatever, everything that's out there for the entire property. It can be a partial topographic survey. It should show the entire water course, and it should show the entire boundary of the property. Because I don't think you can come up with a plan, especially an engineer, and I think that's what your question was, Mr. Shanley.
That's what I was asking.
If you can't really come up with a plan of an engineered plan without at least that minimal information.
Right. I mean, what Attorney Marcus was saying sounded like he was opening the door to try to figure out a way to finish this. And my question was, is it even possible doing it the way he was kind of describing it? I'm
trying to give a minimum here, at least even Mr. Marcus understand what that would be. I understand. He might already understand, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there for everybody.
You've answered my question. Thank you.
Right.
More comments from commissioners? More comments from staff
My statement remains.
or observers?
Well, actually, I'm a member.
Yes, members. I apologize. I never get
No,
it right. Dan.
No, that's okay. Well, because not every first selectman takes the opportunity to
Join us for these.
I guess, Madam Chairman, I would ask one question to the attorney through you, if it's okay.
Of course.
If they leave the public hearing, if they close the public hearing, then can Paul Chanley still go out and do a site visit? Or can that be something he uses? Or should they leave the public hearing open so he's allowed to go out and visit the site?
I'm curious, what would be the purpose?
Well, he wanted to go visit the site.
I wouldn't block him from doing
Yeah.
it, but what would be the purpose of the visit if it's closed?
No, I'm saying if you close the public hearing, he can't come out because now it's ex parte communication. I think that's why I'm asking. Why don't you just leave it open
I'm in agreement with you.
until the
That's
29th?
my
It
preference.
expires the 29th on its own, right?
But if we haven't rendered a decision, then we would need.
Yeah.
You know,
But the public hearing, I believe there's a second question to Attorney Andrews. On the 29th, does the hearing just expire, close on its own? So that way, up until then, Paul could go out and look at the site if he wanted to.
No, that the wiser thing, if he's going to do a site walk, he may discover something that he may wants to ask a question. I mean, that's not unusual when you do a site walk. And so be smart that you would keep the public hearing open so he can ask the question. So I would recommend keeping the public hearing open unless Attorney Marcus doesn't want to, and he thinks, that he doesn't like the way this is going, in which case he could deny an extension and you can close the public hearing. That's what I would recommend.
Keep it open. Sidewalk. We'll do it again.
Mr. Marcus? Attorney Marcus.
If the issue is whether Paul Shanley can take a site walk without keeping the public hearing open, quite honestly, he should go take a site walk and we'll keep it open. I'm not sure that we have much else to present to the commission other than what's in here. But in the meantime, if Attorney Andrews and I can actually discuss some parameters, maybe that's something that can be taken up at the public hearing. So Mark will consent.
Public?
Will consent. Will consent. The applicant will consent.
Paul might not be, thank you.
Appreciate that. Paul might not be the only commissioner
No,
who
no,
wants
yeah.
to attend the site walk. I know that Ms. Pearford and I have been out there several times,
You should, you should.
and I'm not sure how Mary feels about that, but obviously I would want to make sure that any commissioner that wanted to attend that had the opportunity.
And that's very, not for you, baby.
I'm sorry, Mary, you're on mute.
I would love to take a look at it if possible.
Okay, thank you.
David will arrange that.
Yeah,
Good.
I would be happy to coordinate a site walk. The one thing you should keep in mind is if you don't schedule a site walk tonight, then the three of you would have to not visit at the same time as to not constitute a quorum. So that we don't run into the issue of having an unscheduled meeting.
Correct.
I don't want to have that.
And really, you gotta realize that you better get out there before the weather turns.
Right.
Personally,
So,
no wasting your time.
So what I would suggest is the sooner you can let me know when you're available.
We can do that tonight, can we not?
If you want to try to coordinate that
You need
tonight,
flashlight.
that may make sense.
Oh, I didn't mean the site walk tonight.
It's a joke, it's a joke.
I will say, in all seriousness, personally, I would think it would be easier for me with my schedule just to schedule something to run over there by myself, and take the time to do that instead of trying to schedule something with multiples or all of us or whatever. But that's just for me and my schedule.
Can I make a suggestion?
I'm sorry, Mary?
Would it be okay if I made a suggestion?
Of course.
If it was Paul that was saying he would go out there and do it on his own, would be best for his schedule. Only because I have that small baby, and it is a little hard to schedule things. Would it be wise to suggest that maybe he just take a detailed video if he doesn't mind while being out there that he could share with us, or is that
have a video already in the archives that are. So I'm not sure if that would suffice or not.
Yeah, I was actually, it's on the YouTube. It's on the YouTube, and I was searching it before just to find it. But I just feel like I would like to put my own eyes on it. Personally.
Having been out there a few times, I would suggest, and having been on this commission for a minute or two, it's very different to go view a site than it is to see a video.
Yes, it is. Do that.
And this is obviously of particular interest. There's a lot to view here on this site. So if you have the opportunity to go out, my personal recommendation is to try to coordinate that.
Well, my schedule is very flexible, so if you know when you're going to go, I can meet you there.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
That's a good thing. And just tell David, he'll get a hold of Mark Bajor to make sure the site's successful and get out there.
Coordinated through me.
Yeah, David, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll give you a shout, and we'll see.
So long as there's only two, and so long as there's no more than two,
It's not a quorum, so we should be fine.
So Mary,
So
if
you
you wish to
wouldn't
go separate from Paul and Carolyn, then reach out to Dave, or Carolyn can go with you.
okay? Thank you.
I'm going the three of you adults to work that out with Dave then, as long as you understood that, as long as we don't have three people there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Oh, no, you had that look.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you're agreeing to have an engineer for the entire length of the wall or just the study area?
Yes,
Jim
I've
McManus?
offered that's a proposal to
I
resolve
think
some of the problems.
first what we're looking at here,
Yeah.
as far as I can see, is whether or not we're going to have an extension on the table.
We have that.
We have an agreement on the extension. We don't need a motion and all that knowledge.
Do we know when that extension?
Okay, thank you, sir.
When does the extension go till?
That's another question.
Okay.
We can extend it for a period of 30 days, pretty much, well, actually, 30 days takes you from the 29th of December to the 29th of January. So
Which encompasses our next meeting, which is on the 26th.
So long as it gets you to the next meeting, that's all that.
30-day extension. Put it back. If there's a reason to change that, call Josh.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have an extension.
And you should have a motion to continue the public.
Continue that.
Do I hear a motion to continue the public hearing
I make a
to our,
motion to continue.
Discussion.
till our next meeting on
29.
26th.
The 26th.
Should we be asking the public if they have any input tonight?
We're gonna get there.
Oh, I wasn't sure if that
Oh,
moves
you
it.
should do it before you,
Right.
you
Oh.
continue the public hearing.
This is why you should be the chair.
I got lucky.
I apologize. You, okay, so this is where I get lost in the weeds. So I thought that happened later.
No,
This is a public
Because it's
hearing.
a public hearing, it's done
Yeah.
differently. Okay, fine. So we'll table that for a moment. Thank you. We did have some public here. We do have some public here. Yes, we do. And we also have some public on the screen. So I'm going to start in the room. If we have anyone who would like to offer public comments,
Regarding just general.
no,
This
this
application.
application.
this application.
Okay.
I would move to the screen. If anyone who is joining us online would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand so I can acknowledge you. Okay. Hearing none. Now,
Motion to extend the public hearing until the 29th.
26th
26th
of
of
January.
January
2026.
2026, sorry.
Motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote, starting on the screen.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Public hearing moved. Thank you. All right.
You have a curfew tonight?
It's early.
Curfew every night, yeah.
It's actually 2:00 in the morning.
It didn't announce it.
The Crimea River.
Not 10 o'clock yet.
We are moving into staff report. Is staff ready to report?
The only thing I will say off the cuff, there's plenty of training materials out there between your wetlands regulations, what's offered by DEEP. On top of looking at the testimony for anything that comes in, whether it's currently before you, it behooves you to be a better informed commissioner, to look at those materials. It helps you execute your duties, and it helps me. So I recommend you look at that. That's all I have.
So I have an educational question for myself.
Educated what?
What, a permit applicant comes in for a wetlands permit.
Yeah.
It goes to us first, and then it would go to zoning for like their building, correct?
Okay, so,
Someone wants to build a house
Right.
in, near the wetland,
uh-huh,
straightforward wetlands.
uh-huh.
It comes to us first,
Let's caucus outside.
and may simultaneously or later on go to zoning, goes to us first.
Well, this sounds like a procedural question. And what I will say
Thank you.
is, thank you
Enjoy
very
the
much.
holidays.
You as well,
Don't
sir.
think about this while you're on your holidays.
And,
Thank you.
I don't want to keep you either, Chuck, so.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything for Chuck?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chuck. Thank you,
Okay, good
Todd.
night.
Good night, Chuck.
Already left the building, I think. Thank you very
I'm
much.
looking for a time, how the,
December 26th is our next meeting.
Okay.
January.
29th is when the,
January 20th.
No,
when the
January-
period of review.
January 26th is when the next meeting
He
is.
asked what was the 29th. The
Right.
29th is,
29th in the end of
the 29th is when our review period closes, because there's a set amount of time.
I got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, as, when you have an application for regular activities, that's also either a site plan review or a public hearing for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission cannot render a decision until you've rendered yours.
Okay,
Okay, and if for some reason there's an appeal that's made to P and Z or something else to that effect that changes your application, they have as much time as
okay.
you need to render your decision plus 35 days.
So, okay, understand that. So it almost goes simultaneously and, okay.
Well, it can. You
No,
can either
understood.
submit applications together, or you can
Understood.
submit them subsequently.
So now to put it in the mix, this is my educational piece. It's in a floodplain.
Yeah.
So now you got the wetland permit, you got a building permit, zoning permit, and you got a floodplain permit from what I'm hearing. How does that cycle through? Like
What's the order? of
our
operations?
decision, zoning decision, and then floodplain decision, but that floodplain could affect the,
Oh, okay.
see what I'm saying? I'm in the,
Well,
Tell
yeah,
me.
no, understood. So if you look at the floodplain regulations, okay, depending on the scope of the work that's being done, it either can be reviewed administratively with just a zoning permit.
Right.
Or it needs to go to the planning and zoning commission.
Okay.
Okay, depending on what that is, I'm just speaking hypothetically
Right.
here.
Yep.
That determines which fork you're going down.
Okay.
If it goes to P and Z, you're not gonna issue a zoning permit before P and Z renders the decision, right? The
Right.
zoning permit's always the last thing,
Okay.
always, okay? So it's, I think that answers.
Do I
your
still look confused?
What's that?
I'm still confused. So someone's building in a floodplain,
Right,
okay, or wants to do some work in a floodplain.
Right.
Where does the floodplain approval come in, or is that included in the zoning?
that's included in the zoning permit. If it doesn't require an application to P and Z, it's part of the zoning permit.
It's basically just like if we made an approval in wetlands and then zoning went and they decided, no, you have to do this work and it's gonna affect the wetlands, it comes back to us then.
Right.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
That's
Planning
all.
and zoning though can't supersede our decision.
What do you mean?
Like if we make a decision saying a certain thing, they can go like overview.
We're reviewing different things.
No.
Right. It's-
Your scopes of authority are two completely different things.
My question is if one affects the other, it comes back
Right.
to us.
So the whole thing with this, with the floodplain issue and then so those are two separate issues. So we're not
Yeah.
looking at the floodplain at all. We're only looking at the water course
I-
itself.
Remember,
It was a general question.
we're outside of, yeah. make
Can't
sure
talk
you
about-
Yeah,
generalize
no,
the
just a
question.
general question. So they're two separate complete things.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a doozy for you guys to be starting off on.
I have to say, I'm really confused as to their reluctance to get a site.
Well,
plan.
Well, we
Can't
can't talk
discuss
about that right now, but I
Okay.
hear you. Okay, staff, more reporting?
Nope.
Okay, moving on to public comments. Would the public like to comment on anything?
Yeah, on the TV.
Is there any public on the TV that would like to comment on anything?
She gets this way after that.
I do, I get punchy. All right, I hear no public comments. There are no commission comments from me this evening, Mr. Fairport.
None for me. I said enough.
Okay, on the screen, Mary, Paul,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mary.
I got nothing. You go ahead. Thank you.
I just wanted to say I'm excited to do some work on wetlands here. It seems this may sound crazy, but this seems a little bit more straightforward than my last commission.
that does sound crazy considering the evening, but it's a good point. Thank you. I guess I should make some comments and say welcome to all of our new members. It's a pleasure to have you here.
I'll jump in on that too. Welcome to our new members and congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you for your
congratulations.
service.
And you have a lot of homework to do, but I appreciate you getting yourself caught up on it so that we can complete this well. So thank you in advance for all of that, and thanks for all that I know you'll bring to the commission.
Can I ask you a question about the device use?
Yes.
Like if so, I understand about not using devices and wanting to get distracted, but say, you might wanted to look up something or.
So that was my fault. We talked about it and I always miss this.
Okay.
It's the procedural stuff I get lost in a lot. So I should have made an announcement at the beginning where if you're going to use your device, then please state your purpose for using the device publicly so that it's on the record, so that we know why you have it out. It creates issues if people are using cell phones or laptops or tablets, because there could be questions among the public as to what you are using it for and whether or not
It
there's a
happens a lot
conflict.
when we try to schedule site walks, people take out their phones and people just say, I'm looking up the date.
Right.
Yeah. And that's fine. So you can use it, but I didn't want you to have it open until we did that. And I
Right, I
apologize
just,
for shutting it down. And then
no, I'm sorry, I
returning to it.
didn't.
Nope, that was on me. Did that answer your
Does
question?
answer my question, yes.
Thank you. Paul, did you have something did I hear you? piping in on
I
that?
was just gonna reiterate and that when I used to make an announcement on
Yeah.
PNC, just saying basically that personal devices were used just to review like Google.
Oh, I have it. I just never ever managed to remember to read it.
Do we,
Ever.
is there a secretary now?
We never were supposed to have one to begin with.
I was
so-
gonna say, let's make that the secretary's job at every meeting. too.
Oh, I'm gonna make it the vice chair job at every meeting.
That's the problem, it's here myself.
You don't have
You know,
to.
just how it's Jim.
You don't have to do every meeting.
It's a good reminder.
I like having him
reminder.
here.
Yeah, it was supposed to be at the beginning of every year, kind of to say.
Okay.
The new
Right.
Well, the board has all been informed. Oh, no, because Jay's not here. But
Yeah, I
aside-
started. The only reason we did it at P and Z every meeting is just because it was constantly brought up by some
No, it's
public
a good
members. So
reminder.
I was trying to get ahead of it, but
Well, need the boards more than anybody because a lot of you, I use my computer when I'm here too, to look up all the stuff.
right.
They just don't get it all.
Right.
So you just need to make sure you're conscious, not that you're not like emailing somebody or calling somebody. You're
Right.
very.
Yeah, a good
That's the issue.
clarification. Make sure if you're using it.
That's
you
kinda how it
truly
happens.
only use
So that's
it
the
for that.
that's the biggest problem is if there's any intercommission chatting that's going on that's not happening publicly. That's the main concern. So anyways, I'm excited to get going here. So yeah. Thank
Another
you.
question about rules. So you said about like not talking about the issue outside of the actual commission time. Okay.
I actually had a question for you. I can't remember when it happened. It was after you took office, so it was probably at the beginning of my term, so probably 2 years ago, I'm guessing. You offered legal trainings. You had Attorney O'Brien offer one, and it was probably Attorney Andrews offer another one. Those were magical.
Let's do that. I would encourage everybody to like go with what Dave said. Go online and do the inland wetland training. It's kind of a pain, but it's worth it. And then we can get something here for you.
What do you mean the inland wetlands?
So
training?
the state of Connecticut, I believe it's UConn actually. UConn offers inland wetland training. He'll get you the link.
Oh, that would be great.
And you can go online and it talks about, soil types and all that sort of stuff.
I will show you up on the screen very briefly, right here. Right here. Everybody see this?
Yep.
There's a whole website.
Yeah.
Dedicated to materials and everything in the wetlands.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Real quick, can someone go close that door?
We can't, we have to have it open, and I know it's distracting, but we
Yeah.
can ask them to be quiet.
Okay.
So one of these will actually have a full-on course that you take online and you actually get a certificate. So.
Amanda, will you email out the other stuff? Is it possible for you to throw that link in there? Sure.
Thank you. I didn't even.
And we'll
know
work
that.
with Attorney Brown or somebody who's actually talked about the other details.
I found those to be incredibly helpful. Okay, any other commission comments?
Make a motion that we close.
Second.
You mean adjourn?
I said adjourn. I corrected you. Yes. You make a
Okay.
motion that we adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the inland wetland meeting for December 11th. I know.
Oh, boy, you're really pushing it.
I'm sorry.
7th.
8th.
December 7th.
8th. Thank you. I'll second it. At 9:35 p.m.
And 9:35 p.m.
Do I hear a second? Paul
Second.
has seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote on the screen.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you all very
Good
much.
evening.